The presenting sponsor of Upmarket is Aereo, the best place to grow and manage your real estate media business online at aereo.com. That's ARYEO.com. Coming to you from the Upmarket studio at Gasworks in beautiful San Buenaventura, California, this is Upmarket, a podcast about the business of real estate photography and media. My name is Reed Fish. I am the CEO and a co-founder of Upmarket Media, and Mark Corcoran. Oh, this is the rare appearance for Mark Corcoran on one of these episodes, our COO, co-founder.
You got me in for a minute, sat me down, so here I am. Yeah.
We're going to kick you out in a minute, though.
Yeah,
so,
got to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you'd just be a hindrance to that. But, and the reason this is a little rare is because this is one of these Road to PMRE episodes, because PMRE Conference 2025 presented by Auto HDR is coming up soon. Well, is it that soon? I mean, it just feels good to start thinking about it, but it is November 18th through 20th, in 2025 at the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada.
It's creeping up on us, man. It's going to be here in a minute. Yeah.
But look, you can say it's a fun time. We've said it a million times.
Yeah. It's the best.
So we got to start thinking about it because in 2 short days, actually, early bird tickets go on sale. So that is going to be on May 29th. If you're listening to this on release day, it's 2 days from now. It's May 29th at 6 p.m. Eastern. You're going to want to go to pmreconference.com, and you are going to get in there and get an early bird. So, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can figure out the other time zones yourself. But yeah, last year, early bird sold out in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, all the veteran attendees know. I mean, you got to get in and get that. You don't want to regret that and miss that window. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Shoot. You save like $100 or something. I mean, it's like, you definitely want to get in there and get it going. And then also all the hotel rooms are going to open up. You want to get those booked as soon as possible because there is a limited number and it gets expensive otherwise. So please get in there and get those hotel rooms booked. And, of course, we are so happy again this year to be working with iGUIDE. They're helping, they're presenting these episodes, The Road to PMRE. And iGUIDE, of course, is doing once again this year, their tour to PMRE, and they're giving a couple of amazing giveaways. The early bird drawing for this is going to be in June, but you're going to get a $500 gift card to Amazon if you win. What would you buy, Mark?
Oh, man.
I would get
drone, maybe.
A new drone. I'd get Squishmallows.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, because my daughter's super into those, so I'd be a hero.
You would have endless supplies of them for that.
Well, not endless. I mean, they're not as expensive as you think, but they can be pricey. Mm-hmm. So if you want to get some Squishmallows, you can enter into or a drone, whatever you fancy. You can get in there and enter. And also the other thing you can enter, and I'm going to tell you how to enter after we tell you what the grand prize is, which will be drawn, I believe, in early September, is going to be an all expenses paid trip to PMRE. I mean, unbelievable. Anywhere, United States or Canada, iGUIDE is going to fly you in, they're going to buy you a ticket, and they're going to put you up at the hotel. And I think they give you a little walking around money too.
Oh yeah, that is sweet.
It is, what a prize. I saw the people there last year who won and they were so stoked. I mean, who wouldn't be stoked for that? And so don't let that deter you though from buying your ticket, getting in there on early bird or just buying your ticket even if you miss early bird, because if you've already booked travel, you already bought tickets, they're going to reimburse you for all those costs at iGUIDE. So here's how you enter. You're going to find iGUIDE and Upmarket Pod on Instagram, and it's going to be go_iGUIDE. And we're Upmarket Pod on Instagram. Follow both of those accounts. Go to goiguide.com/PMRE. There's going to be a very little form to fill out. Basically, you sign up for the mailing list, put your email in, and you're entered to win.
Man,
simple.
And you got a good shot.
That.
I mean, come on, people.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I know, with the amount of entrants we get, we get a few, of course, but man, you have a pretty good odds of winning one of those fantastic prizes. So get in there, goiguide.com/PMRE, and you're going to get entered to win one of these amazing early bird or grand prize giveaways.
Team iGUIDE for the win. Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Right on. Have a good episode. It's going to be a fun one.
Oh, it is. Speaking of PMRE, we have a guest in studio today because it turns out that one of the biggest names, one of the most prestigious icons of the architectural photography world happens to like be a kind of a local to us, kind of lives in Ventura County. And it's Mike Kelley. And Mike, my first big question for you is, should we all carpool to Vegas?
Potentially, yeah. I'll probably be, there's a flight on this little airline called JSX.
Oh, JSX. Okay, I don't know JSX.
Okay, it's Jet Suite X.
Oh, uh-huh.
And they fly, it's like an all first class, they do a shuttle from Burbank
Mike
to
Kelley,
Vegas.
first class,
it's like
of course,
$200 each way. You can't beat it. I've been sitting in that. I've done the drive. It can take 7 to 10 hours on a weekend.
Yeah. Oh well,
look into JSX. I'm telling you, it sounds insanely.
I got to bring all this gear though, because we're going to be recording there.
They'll check your bags. You roll up to Burbank. There's no security.
Yeah,
it's like I've done round trip for like $230.
Nice.
And it's all first class on one of those little CRJs. So it's a small plane. That's the ticket.
All right. Okay. I'm
telling you.
I'm in.
I sound insane. It's unbelievable.
I'm in. Well, we finally just met for the first time today, actually in person, but we do have a big connection. I actually photographed your house before you bought it.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and of course, I know that you never even toured the house in person. You just saw those photos. You're like, this is the house for us.
I saw those pictures.
We
and I was
plopped
like,
down
this
the
is
cash.
it.
We plopped down the cash. So I guess like there's this duality here of like, you're kind of really known for architecture photography, but you do real estate photography as well. And obviously this is a real estate photography podcast. So you must like look down on real estate photography. You hate real estate photography, right? As opposed to the prestigious architecture.
Here's the big secret. I love real estate photography. I think I've gone through enough of a roller coaster of emotions over my career. 15 years of doing this. 16 actually now that's 2025. And I think real estate photography is kind of what you make it. And architecture photography, on the social media, it looks amazing. On Instagram and Facebook and everything. It can be work, it can be crazy. What I love about real estate photography is generally, for me, the pressure is a lot lower.
Sure.
I'm oftentimes alone. I charge the same price either way. And
no wonder you love real estate photography so much.
I mean, for me, a day is a day. You know what I mean? Right. And if you want to hire me for a day, well, you pay that or you pay this. And I send everyone the same contract and the same rates. And I think, I have sort of got my real estate photography business to a point where I'm acting the same on each shoot. I'm shooting the same. I'm thinking the same. I treat them exactly the same. And I think that there are a number of, especially in California, in New York, in Florida, in the Northwest, there's a lot of markets where people are sort of looking for something new when it comes to how real estate photography feels and looks.
Yeah.
And with the proliferation of photographers doing this, everything looking, sort of samey same.
Yeah, 100%.
Is kind of going out the door. And people want a more editorial look. People are finding that buyers are responding to that editorial look. And so, as you know, in order to do that, it takes time, takes patience, it costs more. You need the gear, you need the post-production. It's not something that you can really just quickly outsource and, be done with it.
We are literally struggling with that right now because we are built for efficiency and speed and, to get things, really good.
Well, lucky me, I was never built for efficiency or speed. And so when, a realtor comes to me and they say, I want the El Decor or the Dwell look or whatever, I'm like, sure, I can do it. It's going to take me the whole day because I'm going to wait for the light. I'm not just going to go in there with a flash on my camera and smash together some ambient blend. We're going to wait for the sunlight to come in the window. And I can't run any faster than the sun moves. So we're going to be there. And then the post-production, it's not just, I can't just send this off to a retoucher for $5 and, get the whole set back. I'm working with a retoucher, of course, but there's some finesse that happens because the retoucher is not there. I know what it felt like. I know what we're trying to do. Right. They'll send back the proofs. I will send back tweaks. It takes time to do that. And so from minute one, day one, I'm just at client education, as you know, always. And then for me, I think and many people listening have probably been through enough crap in their life where they start to establish really good boundaries with business and life.
Yeah.
And so when I get an inquiry, it's just, here's how I work. And take it or leave it. And I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I have enough work on sort of both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Where if I don't get this real estate gig or I don't get this architecture gig, I don't care. I have real estate I can shoot. I have architecture I can shoot. I have stuff that will never see social media. Clients I've been working with for 10 years. I can shoot that. You know what I mean? And it's just, when real estate photography works, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But something that's important is getting out ahead of it, setting those boundaries, establishing how you're going to work, et cetera.
I think that's a really good lesson because obviously in your position, you do have the luxury of being able to enforce those boundaries. And I think the trickiest part is when we're all just starting our businesses. And especially if you're coming in and you're just scraping by and you're like, well, I need that $200,
yeah, of course.
and so
I've been there, man.
No, of course. And so, but I think what can happen, and I know what happened to me and I think Mark too, in our individual businesses, and the stuff we struggle with now is is having those boundaries. Cause I'm so used to still like bending over backwards anytime a realtor wants to call or text, because it feels like, well, if I don't get back to them within 5 minutes, we're going to lose this job.
Right.
And, and we're doing well, but not so well that we are just like, want to lose that $800 or whatever.
Of course.
So it really, and it's something I do preach at this point, and I wish I could have followed myself, is like, start where you want to end up.
Yeah.
And I think trying to have those boundaries in the beginning is going to do you well, I think. And people respect it, actually, if you push back a little.
And I think something important, and I kind of had to learn this the hard way, is you can't negotiate from a place of desperation.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I have been in, money has been tight. We just bought a house. We are renovating that house in California.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Lord knows
I know your house. It was a piece of shit. I mean, it looked good in the photos.
It was overgrown. Totally overgrown. So we were digging it out, from a hillside, literally. And I call it the FU fund.
Yeah.
At every business, you have to have some runway because it takes time to get it where you want it. And I do think with photography, people see it. Oh, I can buy a couple grand of cameras and I can hire a retoucher overseas and I can just crank. You know what I mean? And
they'll market way, baby.
You have to be able to say no to what you don't want to do. Because if you start saying yes to things that because you need the money, and the client is then dictating the terms and they will break you. It has happened to me.
Yeah.
I have been in positions early in my career where I had $200 to my name. I had a $600 rent check due, and I was waiting for a $400 check to come in. And I'm like, please give me any job I can get, the first few years of my business. And it made it very stressful. And I got lucky. I just completely moved my market from Northern California to Southern California. And at that point I was like, boundaries start today. So I was able to sort of learn that lesson early, start to enforce, and you don't need to be mean about it.
Right.
You just need to say, if you want to work with me, this is how I work. And there's enough work that people they will come to you and say, hey, look, my regular guy is sick. I need to work with you. And you say, okay, well, you want the photos the next day? There's a rush fee.
Yeah.
Because I have to now rearrange my whole life to accommodate that.
Yeah.
And something has definitely happened in real estate photography where the expectation has turned into, I need the photos tomorrow. And what we're doing is still an art, whether or not people believe it. This is a whole other podcast episode about how I think,
I'm not sure what I believe in those regards, but
our society has systematically destroyed people for pursuing liberal arts degrees and told them that they're meaningless.
Yeah.
Whether or not people decide or know it, what we do, there is a huge art component, even if you're running in and Xeroxing houses 5 in a day.
Yeah.
You still have to make it look good.
Yeah. You have to come with an artistic eye.
Right.
Whether it's art or not is a debate, but I think you have to bring some artistic sensibility to it.
And you can't create art every single day. You need to take a breath or you get burnt out. The product suffers. And so it's just unsustainable that we are now doing these 24-hour turnarounds we collectively
24. We do like 14-hour, man.
I mean,
Come on.
I know you're.
Well, no, but that's the thing. But it's astonishing to me, and it took us a long time to get there. But like, we will go and do a whole package on a home. And in the summertime, it's like, we start at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And it'll be a 3,000 square foot house. We'll do photos. We'll do a 3D tour. We'll do a video.
Yeah.
And we'll do twilight photos and aerial photos. And we will deliver all that by 9:30 the next morning.
I mean,
and guess what? It looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And
it may look good, but
the layperson does not understand what an absolute feat that is.
Of course. And I know guys who are uploading editing in their car and then sending the files with LTE to wherever they go. I don't think it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Can you tell the realtors that?
I think realtors think it's necessary.
They do. Yeah.
I have clients who are, I'm shooting some $80 million home in Bel Air, and they'll pay for the rush fee and everything. The rush fee for me is like a 1 week turnaround, right?
Right.
They'll get the photo, and the house will sit on the market for 2 years.
Right.
And, the amount of stress to get that pulled off is crazy. And I think if the house hits the market a day later, nothing's going to change. The world is not going to end, even though people think it is.
Yeah.
And, I just said, that's not something I'm going to do unless I do have a 24-hour turnaround. It is 100% of the shoot fee for the next day turnaround. Wow. And in order for me to do that, I need to line up a retoucher in Australia or Europe or something so that when I go to bed, they'll have the files.
Yeah.
I need good internet to make that happen. And people are like, hey, can you do the rush turnaround? I'm like, look, I'm trying to upload this from Holiday Inn Internet in Portland, Maine.
Right.
I can't guarantee it literally because the bandwidth I don't think exists to send 50 medium format shots with 5 brackets apiece, everything. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So, and I think, that's something that I just don't want to do. And I say, hey, I don't do it. So.
Yeah. No, I kudos to you. And I think it can be a little easier to push back on the higher end in a way.
Yeah.
Because they, like, a lot of those agents get it. And they also, in addition to speed, they need everything to be perfect because they have so much riding on these deals. Where it's on the, for here, like the $800,000 house, which is like the kind of starter level home at this point.
Crazy.
Where the homeowners can barely afford that, but they want to move to a different place. They can barely afford that. And they put an offer in, but then their house needs to get sold immediately. And so then everyone's panicked. Right. And in that instance, I'm like, okay, I get it. Right. But still, can you give me just one more day?
Can we go to a 48-hour?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't get a plumber to show up with that much
I can't get a plumber to answer the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to be difficult, but I've always said, why are we the ones?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, because no one wants to be a plumber, but everyone wants to be a photographer. So that's the thing.
Plumbers make pretty good money.
They do. My grandfather was a plumber. I mean,
very respectable job.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's like, do you want to be a plumber? No. I mean,
it depends. Like,
I know sometimes you're like, God, dealing with literal shit would be so much better than this.
Yeah. I mean, so it just begs the question. And this all goes back to what we said. You have to design the career that you want. I know photographers who are in the real estate market in LA who are more stringent than me about this. Mm-hmm. And they will say, look, every shoot is a 1-day shoot. And it takes 2 weeks for you to get the look. Right. And that's it. And if you want to take it, if you don't. Right. And of course, is there a time and a place for the 24-hour turnaround? Yes. Will the quality suffer? Probably, to some degree. If there's, just like fire sale homes that need to go they need photos for some reason, then of course, but do you want to make something beautiful? And again, not every home needs the beauty treatment. Yeah. It's just documentation, really.
Well, the homeowners need the beauty treatment. They think it needs it. Right. That's the problem. You have to match their vision of the home, not what it really is.
I think it would totally be fine. And I've gotten into this argument with clients. I'm like, you don't stick up for me at all. We're not working together anymore. Because they will get the photos and then they will send them to the homeowner for the homeowner's feedback. And I'm like, I'm sorry, who's my client? Is it you or the homeowner? If you tell me the photos are great and then a day later the homeowner sees them and hates them and has problems, that's not my problem.
Yeah, we get that all the time.
You already told me.
Yeah, we get that all the time.
And it's happened 3 or 4 times with some clients and I'm like, this is not, you have got to have some backbone.
All right.
And
Chelsea,
the realtor,
get some backbone.
the realtor can tell their clients it takes 48 hours.
Right.
They're just trying to make themselves look better.
Yeah,
you know
of
what
course.
I mean?
That's our job. Is our client? We are servicing our clients, right? So and if their client is being like, well, I don't like these, then they have to look good. Then we're okay. How do they want them to be? I mean, we're just not too precious about it, right? So,
and I always try
they want it more yellow. Great, let's make it more yellow.
I try to head that off and say, I have had the client tells me the homeowner likes an editorial look.
Yeah.
I deliver an editorial look. The homeowner comes back. Oh, not like that. Yeah. I'm like, this is.
Well, the thing that I find is actually a pretty effective counter is I would always tell the agents, make me the bad guy. Just say he's a prima donna. Yeah. And you know how artists are.
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
Just use that phrase.
You know that. Yeah.
It's like, I don't care. I just don't want to make any changes. I'm done with this. That shoot was last week.
Something that is happening to me more and more, which I find very interesting, is a homeowner will reach out to me directly and they will say, I don't like the photos the realtor took. I want to hire you. I find that I have a much, much easier time with those clients.
Oh.
Because they don't know what the standards are.
Right. Yep.
They don't know everything's 24-hour turnaround. I can just get on. I'll have a phone call with them. We'll set up a Zoom. We'll talk about what they like. Do we want to do flowers? Do we want to do a stylist? And I'll just explain to them what it really takes to get the photos you see on my website.
Right.
They are almost without exception totally down because they think their house is something really special. It may be. It may not be. It's not. For me to decide. It's what they think. We will do flowers. We will do styling. We will bring in the throws. We will do the whole thing. They are always accepting of here's the turnaround. Here's what it takes.
Yeah.
You like what you see. Let's get it for you. But when you have a portfolio of 50 projects and all of them look incredible and they want that.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, this is what it takes. They're just like, okay, we can wait 2 weeks. We'll spend thousands on florals.
Right.
We'll make it right. Okay.
All right. Well, okay. When it comes down to it, I mean, I don't know. Can you even answer this question? I don't know. In your heart of hearts, what do you prefer more, architecture or real estate?
They both have pluses and minuses.
Okay.
I know that's a politician's answer.
Yeah.
Can I say neither?
Yeah, you can. You're big in the architecture world, but you're catering now to real estate photographers, so you have to be a politician a little bit.
I'm still a real estate photographer. Gasp. And I really enjoy the low pressure. Again, I only work for realtors who want to work with me.
Right.
I enjoy generally the low pressure. No one's breathing down my neck.
Right.
We're not shooting tethered.
Right. And then, there's no team around you, right?
Right.
There's no team of
there's no
other people
director,
who are not your
art
people.
director, architect, you know, I'm like, and I just kind of move through the house, do what I want, make some nice shots, follow the light, have a great time. Of course, it comes with its, sometimes it backfires spectacularly, and you have the situation where the homeowner doesn't like the photos. The homeowner wants them to be more like the MLS because that's what they're used to.
Exactly. Yeah. There's bullshit everywhere, right? Yeah.
But when it works well, it's spectacular, you know?
Well, and then what's the upside to the architecture? Because you're getting the same rate for both, right? So then what's the upside for the architecture stuff?
The architecture, I mean, a lot of the architecture stuff is, I am not really being an artist as much as I'm being a technician. And I have...
Right. Because the client has a very specific desire for what these need
They
to look
need
like.
the people. They need the art direction. They need the pixel perfect retouching. They need all of these things to happen. And there's models and there's an agency involved. And it's like, oh my goodness. And then there's, the publication pressure. And people are like, wow, it's so sexy that like you're in these magazines and Architectural Record. I'm like, the amount of stress of dealing with all that. And then the disappointment when, you've sat on the photos for 2 years and the magazine doesn't want to publish, or they send a different photographer and you feel like a complete failure. That's happened on multiple occasions because they need a certain look. And my client loves the photos, but the magazine doesn't. And it's just like really disappointing. But then there's architects I've been working with for 10 or 15 years. I mean, even like 5 shoots, right? They start to trust you. And they send you out on your own. And they say, hey, we have some cool civic project, and it's a bridge up in Northern California, or it's an office building, or it's a just go get some exteriors of this office that we did, or did a really cool house. It's a vacation home. The homeowner's not there. The keypad is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in Oregon. Go have fun.
It. Yeah.
Dreams.
Yeah.
And they're totally cool, and it's easy living. And then, of course, the architecture that I get to do, I try to carve out a month or two every year just to go shoot what I want to shoot.
Right.
And continue to sort of refine my portfolio to be what I want, to continue to be hired to shoot that kind of thing. Those are where there is no client, and I'll email some, I don't know, some Swedish freaking bathhouse or something. It's a sauna, and I'm like, hey, you have an amazing thing.
Right.
Some dude made it with his bare hands, and it's in like the northern reaches of Sweden. I'm doing a book about Scandinavia. Can I come photograph it? And they're like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Please come do it.
Yeah.
And then, it's just personal work entirely. And like, that's when I get in the flow. I am creating the art.
Yeah.
There's no pressure.
You still have a passion for it, it sounds like. Yeah. It hasn't been driven out of you.
Right.
Because I think for a lot of us, it has.
Yeah. And there's, again, like 1 or 2 months a year is what I try to devote to that. And it's been very difficult the last 5 years because I just got too much going on. But I still try to carve that out and just shoot exactly what I want to shoot, only for me, no pressure at all. And, I'll just get what I get. Right. And the weather sucks, and maybe the photos are great, or the weatter's great and the photos are great, or it's fun.
Well,
and so that's what I love about the architecture. Yeah.
Well, and the prestige is kind of nice to have the notoriety. I feel like the architects should get a little more credit, though. I feel like we're all about the photographers, but they had to build the thing.
Yeah. I mean it is really such a tangled web.
Yes.
Of, man, there's so much I could say on this. Is it the architects? Is it the builders? We are remodeling, and we are doing a lot of it ourselves. I spent 12 hours yesterday cutting tile in my front yard.
Yeah.
I have learned how to design, build, finish cabinetry. And being me and seeing what I have seen over the past 15 years.
Yeah, right.
It needs to be nice.
Yeah, right.
So my inspiration is like high-end
Speaking
Spanish
of prima
cabinetry.
donnas,
Holy crap. The respect I have gained for builders, for designers, for architects is incredible.
Right.
And, but on the same side of the coin, I have seen some incredible projects photographed horribly.
Right.
And they are missing out on opportunities because the photos of that project are so bad. And I think yes, the architecture is good, but if you come in and you hire a bad photographer, or the photo shoot just didn't go well for some reason, I mean, you might as well have not done the project.
Right.
So like, I think what we do, we come in and prance around for a day or two. Yeah. And like, oh, we get a lot of credit. It's our photos, blah, blah, blah. But, photographers have devoted their whole lives to their craft. Sure. Just like architects have. So I don't think it's, any less. I just think it's one more piece of the pie, the puzzle. Of course. And, what good is a 1,000-piece puzzle if it's missing a piece? Yeah. It's not finished. There you go. You got to nail it. So
there you go. There you go.
Like, I think, you have to have a healthy dose of self-deprecating humor about what we do. Sure. And we are not important in the grand scheme of things, but also we are so important. Yeah, right. So it's like, how do you balance that,
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay. Look, I think that's a lot. So I'm tired. I'm going to take a little break. So we're going to come back. We're going to.
I'll keep going. But
I know you will. I got that vibe. We're going to do a social media sidebar. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about PMRE, what Mike's going to talk about, and then, man, Chelsea. I mean, Mike. He's teased it. He's got an action item to end all action items. I mean, this could not get. This is a great day.
Exciting.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We'll be right back. Oh, Mark Ario. I mean, come on. Well, here's just this morning, you and I have been sitting at the studio working together. You're not out in the field today, thank God. And we had a client call in and had a shoot in a different city, like, 150 miles away. Wanted to know if we can service it. And he said, and he specifically said, so that it's in your system. And what he meant by that is Ario, because he enjoys the whole process of booking, of paying, of getting all his content, having it all there, having the website created, having access to those photos anytime, any shoot ever that he's ever done with us. He wants it all in the same place. And so if he tries to call someone in a different city, then he's not going to be on the same system, and he knows that those other systems are inferior.
Yeah. Or God forbid you get a Dropbox link or there's no system or whatever. It's like, I like this. Can you guys make this happen somewhere else?
So now we just contacted one of our listeners actually in that area, and which we've done actually several times, and have them subcontract the shootout, and they make some money, we make some money, and our client stays happy because they are staying in the Aryeo ecosystem, because that is what we use on our back end. So it's Aryeo, ARYEO.com, Aryeo.com. Use the code Upmarket, and if you're a new user, you're going to get 15 free bonus listings, which is pretty big stuff.
That's a beautiful thing.
Mark, there's been some changes here at Upmarket, in the Upmarket family, a little bit. I mean, nothing. Well, there have actually been some changes. We'll get into in an upcoming episode. But one of our beloveds is going through a life transition. Chelsea, who's not here right now, is selling her home.
Yeah.
And here's what she and she also drafted up a resignation letter, and it was pretty. I was a little shocked.
Yeah,
because she was
still
going to move.
drying the tears. So
yeah, well, no, because she said, if I don't get a second floor plan for my house, I'm quitting.
Yeah, I'm out.
I mean, she drew the line, and
she knows what marketing works. I mean, she sees it
exactly. And then she was basically saying, look, second floor is basically a second religion to me. It's right behind. Her first religion, whatever that is. A very devout person she is. This is what's going to sell my house. And so that was the first choice, was second floor. And then second choice was the realtor. So, and then,
and she made sure that agent knew, and we're doing second floor and this is how it's going to be.
Yeah. And the agent was like, whatever you say, Chelsea.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, if you want to get in on the action, it's secondfloorapp.com. And if you do /Upmarket on that, you're going to get a free month of service. But here's the deal with Second Floor. You just fire that up on your phone. You just walk around the house, take a few minutes, scan the property. You're going to get a floor plan back basically instantly. Not basically. It is.
I mean, it's there. You see it being made. You see it produced. Boom. You deliver it.
It is. And then you can deliver it right to your client. And you can upsell them on the rush. I mean, what a great service. Secondfloorapp.com. That's all spelled out. SECONDFLOOR.
That's a lot of letters.
app.com/upmarket. Free month of second floor. You can come, and Chelsea will let you make a floor plan of her house anytime. All right, social media sidebar. We are Upmarket Pod across all social media. Mike, I've noticed you don't follow us. I think it's time to change that. I really do. We're also upmarket.media if you want to see. You got to follow upmarket.media to see all the stuff happening around in Ventura County, and you'll see all our real estate photography. And then personally, I have a new Instagram, a new-ish now. It's Reed Fish, LYSM. There's gonna be some cool stuff happening there pretty shortly, actually. And then Mike, where can we find you on social media and then on the web? Where are we seeing your stuff?
It's mpkelley.com, mpkelley.com. And then my social handle is mpkelley with an underscore because someone stole mpkelley, but it is there. If you just search Mike Kelley, it might come up.
Sure. Photography. You just throw in the word photography, it's going to come up. Well, because there's Mike Kelley, the artist, the visual artist as well. So I actually researched you a little bit. This is rare for me to actually prepare for a podcast. And so I spent like 3 minutes Googling you.
I'm honored.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know he was a painter too. And then it turns out he wasn't. Well, so then how are you getting business from social media? I mean, how is it working with your business model of kind of your stature?
I think social media, first and foremost for me, is a place for people to see that I have a pulse and they can go there and see that I'm actively working. I think my driver is my website.
Okay.
Oh
yeah. Oh, and it's got that clever bit with the fun bio.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I won't spoil it for people, but that was good.
That's where I tried to inject some personality. I think architecture photography and real estate photography, for that matter, it can be such a dry exercise.
For sure. Architecture photography is so dry because it's everyone. It has to be so prestigious and beautiful and serene.
Well, I think people you have to take it seriously.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have a stick up your ass.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
that's the Upmarket way.
Yeah. If I'm going to be stuck in a small room with someone for 12 hours, I would want to have fun with them.
Yeah.
I try to show that. And, maybe this is embarrassing. Maybe it's not. I've worked on my personality for 20 years. I remember in high school, I was the meek wallflower getting made fun of. At some point in my life, I was like, I'm sick of this.
Right.
I am boring and I kind of suck. So I really need to change this.
So you had a bad personality.
I did.
Yeah.
I just don't think
How do you feel like it is now?
I feel like it's better.
Okay.
Is it great? I don't know. I
don't know. I'm figuring it out. We just met, so I don't know. I'll tell you later.
I mean, listen, I was a huge introverted gamer nerd, head in the computer, not very socially aware, sort of like dark arts skateboarder guy.
Okay.
And it just wasn't working for me. I wasn't really happy.
Right.
And so I just said, look, I need to change my personality because something has to give here because I'm depressed and sad and lonely and single.
That is like that's not a phrase I hear very often. I want to change my personality. I mean, I think people will be like, oh, I want to be, I don't know. They'll say, I don't even know what, but that's like a big term. And so how did you, I kind of want to dive a little deeper here.
Sure.
How did you do that?
I was just unhappy. I mean, and I was old enough to see that people around me are capable of being happy. And
did you go to therapy? Did you?
I've been in and out of therapy at various points throughout my entire life, starting in high school, maybe college. After I moved to California, that was really like the depths of my despair there, ironically. And then, while living in LA, all for various reasons, I had a business therapist off and on for 5 years.
Yeah.
Because
we basically
I need someone to tell me I'm not insane or that I am insane.
Yeah, right.
I can take it. I can take the feedback. And that's been really wonderful. I've had therapy for, my parents got divorced. That screwed me up for a while.
Sure. Oh, I joined the club.
Moved to Los Angeles, and I tell people LA is like the loneliest big city in the world.
Sure.
I have more friends in Europe than I have in LA. I mean, I could fly to Europe today and have some kind of social calendar 30 days out, no problem. In LA, I'm like, is anyone here? Knock, knock. Who wants to hang out? Who wants to get dinner?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you live 20 minutes away. You'll never see that person.
Yeah. Well, we can have dinner.
Yeah. But I mean, back to the, personality thing, it's just like, I went to a great high school. I did not have a good high school experience. I had one teacher who I think sort of saved my life, turned me onto art in a big way. But outside of that, I, was just kind of a loner. And I was like, look, this is not fun. And there's more to life than building computers and playing Counter-Strike until 4 a.m.
Yeah, do you feel like you were shy at that point?
Yeah, oh yeah, very shy.
Yeah. And do you consider yourself shy now?
No, not at all. I consider myself extremely selective with who I'm going to hang out with and spend time with and devote energy to.
Okay, that gets dinners off.
Because I think our job is very mentally demanding. And, so like, I don't think I'm shy at all. I'll hang out with anyone. I can make friends with anyone. Whether or not, I need to do that is another thing. But I just try to spend my energy the way I want to spend it. But I do think my personality has changed incredibly.
And so do you think it's more because, did your personality change because you're happy, or did you change your personality to become happy?
I changed it to become happy. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wasn't happy for 5 years plus, at least.
So that means putting yourself out in the world more and
say yes to everything.
Saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
Were you practicing? That's like what I'm trying to do after divorce thing. It's just Yeah, sure. And it usually involves people asking me out for drinks, but I'm like,
I'm not a drinker. Yeah. I mean, I maybe have alcohol touch my lips once a month.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm just kidding. Like, it's just like, I'm just really trying to be open to stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how I got into this career. I mean, like I just said, yes, why not? I mean, what's the worst that could possibly happen? I tried to be a professional snowboarder. I was a snowboarder for 15 years before I found this career. I mean, and in that I have faced injury and, basically stared death in the face on more than one occasion, whether being stretchered off a mountain or, having surgery on crazy things like I couldn't walk for like a year because my back was so injured. And I'm like, nothing compares to that.
Right.
In terms of going out and meeting people and being social. But I think, sort of learning to be like a bit of a social chameleon, having to navigate difficult personalities on shoots, for example, getting people to open up a little bit.
Did you have like a social coach or anything? So you just like trial and error with just like, maybe if I tell more jokes,
just be silly, have fun, like it's almost a challenge. Like for me to like, I'll go to a shoot and like Mr. Serious architect or designer will show up dressed in black. And I'm like, how can I crack this guy? No. And it doesn't work every time.
Yeah. No, that's all I used to do is just how can I give this realtor shit without them realizing I am, or whatever.
And so I think, being able to do that has sort of made me fun to work with. Word of mouth spreads. Oh, use my Kelley. He's fun. He's easy to work with.
Absolutely. No, I feel like I built our business or my side of the business on charisma. That's what it was. And the photos were good too, but it's like, I think it was like, that's just the personality I have. I can walk into the room and like put people at ease and everyone has a good time. I'm good with homeowners and, all that kind of stuff. So that's really, we always talk about it being a relationship business. And like, if you want to have relationships, you have to be someone people want to have a relationship with.
Yeah. And I think, being able to put people at ease, I think a lot of people, homeowners especially, are very nervous. Architects, designers, especially in, a lot of the smaller firms who have worked for 4 or 5 years on a project, they're doing the shoot and they're nervous. Is this going to lead to ABC, XYZ? Is this going to be a big break for me? And can you put the homeowner at ease when they are, trying to sell their house and it's their baby? And, can you make people relax and feel good about what they're going to get? And, I think that goes along with sort of being socially adept at navigating all these different situations. So very important part of the business.
All right. Well, that was a lot of great social media talk. So let's wrap up the social media sidebar and then we're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back to talk a bit about PMRE and we're going to end this thing with action items.
Thanks for tuning in to the social media Dead Sea Scrolls.
Perfect. Oh, you all know we're partnering with iGUIDE on our road to PMRE episodes this year. And look, I brought in the big dog himself, Skylar Lawrence LaBelle. Skylar, look, the big flagship camera came out last fall, the Planix R1. I don't even know what it's called. I can't remember.
Yeah, you got it. Planix
it's all jargon. Planix R1. Now, I know this has been a big hit with people. What are people loving about this camera?
It's speed. Speed and accuracy, but really the speed. Like the thing is lightning fast.
Speed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a need for speed. You know me. The legal kind.
We've got developers, operators getting through 3,000 square foot home in like 15 minutes.
Oh, oof, I love that.
And then depending on what iGUIDE you want, from iGUIDE Instant, you've got your interactive floor plan virtual tour back in minutes and sharing that with your agent. Turnaround right now on iGUIDE Standard sits at about 5 to 6 hours, guaranteed within 24 hours. But yeah, it's quick across the board, but really the camera's fast, light, great image quality, and accurate.
Right. So if you have employees out there, you're only paying them for an extra 15 minutes and you're upsell. I mean, that's as an employer, I love to jack my employees and not pay them much. So that's like, I love that. And then you're also getting it back in just a few hours. So, with our next morning delivery, it's going to fit perfectly within all that. So man, it sounds like just a big win. We love it. So we're going to go to goiguide.com to check out that camera and all the other stuff that iGUIDE has. Skylar, thank you so much for being here.
Sidebar, I think photographers are their own worst enemies.
Oh, 100%.
I think they're impossible to work with. I think they're extremely difficult. I think some photographers act like they're trying to save the world by taking photos of us. And it goes back to, it is important, but it's also not important. How do you balance all of this?
I just think if we take ourselves too seriously, it's like,
for sure.
What's the point of that?
Look, there's 5 photos of a project that really matter.
Yeah.
Please nail them. Please tell the client to go kick rocks while you're making them.
Yeah.
The secondary bathroom, the secondary bedroom, just get the photo.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, this is such good advice. Well, we are back. So I do think we want to use that. So we are back with Mike Kelley. And so Mike, you spoke at the first PMRE. Now we're at it was PFRE back then. I mean, that's how old school you are, man. Back to speak. What do you think? And we're back at the Palms. Like, how different are you feeling like this experience is going to be from that first one? I mean, everyone must have went into that being like, what the hell is this even going to be?
I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a great event.
Well, of course.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to see how it's changed.
Yeah.
And I don't know many people who have gone to the first one and now skipped 5 years and coming to the 6th one.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see, the difference. And of course, see a lot of friends there.
Yeah. And so what do you know? We're ways out from it, but like kind of what do you think you're going to focus on when you talk? And I don't want you to repeat your talk in here, but like.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think there'll be a number of topics. I think finding happiness in real estate photography, because I do think there is this, and this is one of those things where maybe you have to go through it to understand it. So I don't blame people at all, but the grass is always greener. And now, having been a real estate photographer and an architecture photographer, finding happiness in both of those things, because after doing a lot of architecture, I realized like real estate photography can be really nice and really enjoyable. It is what you make it,
Yeah. Oh, man, I need to listen to that.
So, and then another topic I really want to discuss is the rights management and licensing side of things.
Oh.
I think I just heard all the air leave the room.
Yeah.
I think to make this profession last, we have got to get on top of that. And I know that every realtor and a lot of architects and every company out there, they want all rights forever throughout the known universe and into perpetuity and the next big bang.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the downfall of our career. I cannot sound the alarm loud enough about that. When you have companies who are making literally millions, if not billions of dollars off of stolen intellectual property.
Oh, what companies could you possibly be talking about? I've never mentioned that word that is our biggest sponsor, but that's okay.
It is from social media influencers all the way up to billion-dollar publicly traded companies.
There you go, yeah.
That simply would not exist without stolen intellectual property.
Thank you. Yes.
And
we all know who we're talking about.
And I'm not going to tell people to go start charging licensing fees by the week on everything they shoot. But let's try to stop the all rights forever. And I get it. If big real estate photography, if big realtor company that happens, and they say, we need you to sign this all rights forever thing, just say no. But the frustrating thing is someone probably will sign it because they need the money.
We've signed it.
So I get it.
And we typically ignore them, but sometimes if you want that big brokerage client or whatever, you have to sign it. I mean, if you want that job, right? Like you can't push back. And if you do, and the reason is that, they have all their legal team saying, oh, you have to do it this way. And what I've found is actually that in my opinion, and I don't disagree with you, but I feel like the companies are doing that just to play defense.
Of course.
They don't have any other designs. They're not going to go resell your photos. They don't actually care if you resell them for a purpose. Like no realtor, unless you're giving it to their competitor and it's the same listing or whatever. If you're selling it to the cabinet company, they don't care.
And I'm fine with the brokerage using the photos to sell the house.
Yeah, of course.
It's when the brokerage is, not necessarily involved, and we're just supposed to expect that another company can come and take the photo with no penalty or permission. Let's just start with getting permission for every usage.
Right.
A simple email, yes.
Right.
Let's start there because it is simply untenable what is happening to photography. Because intellectual property is retirement for many people. It is your legacy. If it is for a lot of photographers, they don't have 401ks. They don't have retirement accounts.
Right.
All they have is the value of that IP and is being eroded by the day. And I know that I'm fighting the tide here.
Yeah.
But something has got to change. Otherwise, I just think this is an impossible race to the bottom. And I'll talk about this for 2 hours if you want right now, or we can talk. It's up to you.
I don't have that kind of time. But I don't know. One of the biggest issues that obviously, and is there are so many real estate photographers and there's so many people who are desperate.
Yeah.
And I have seen so many people just in like the Facebook groups who are successful, who have big teams.
Great.
I don't
care.
care.
Skimming money from everyone else in order to do that.
I don't care. They literally say, I don't care. Well, who cares? I get paid, done. No one's ever going to use these again. Doesn't matter. That is what they say. And I'm not defending them.
Yeah. I think that's shameful. And it is an ignorant and frankly lazy way to do business. And again, I said this earlier.
Takes. I love this.
Whether or not you think you're an artist, you are. So please act like it. And the law, the literal Constitution of the United States, lays out copyright. So for the love of God, so many people have fought so long and so hard to get that structure built. Do the least you can and just ask for permission and say, look, Mr. Broker, use this as much as you want. Sell the house, I don't care. When, magazine, blog, real estate, whatever, cabinet company takes the photos, please stick up for yourself. Please get permission or get a waiver or something. Again, I'm not saying that you need to literally charge. I'm saying the conversation has to start.
Right.
Because that is what is actually killing this industry.
Not AI.
No, you cannot. Maybe in 50 years, you can send a little robot into a house and have it
maybe
with a little spinny thing, document everything.
Maybe in 5 months. I don't know, man. And I think the further protection with the AI stuff is to do more of what you're doing, is to do stuff that is not as standard. Well, and I mean, there is a look to like editorial style and whatever, but it's like,
I don't know if you were around the internet 10 years ago when it was fun internet before it turned into bad internet, but there was a phrase called pics or shenanigans. Basically, fix or it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
With architecture, if no one cares about a render of a building, can you get it built? That is the question. Do you have the wherewithal, the talent to negotiate all of the factors that go into building a real building and then document it with a real camera? I think that's safe. Yeah. People have been sounding scared of the next big thing as long as they've been in this career. I think the same is true for real estate. We need something real, ergo real estate. It is tangible.
Yeah. Well, someone needs to go in the house, right? Yeah. Our jobs are safe in as much as someone has to actually go there.
So this is the thing. Do we want to protect the job and claim intellectual property back, or do we want to let it backslide into oblivion? And
backslide into oblivion is, I think, where we're going, right? So
that is the question that we collectively have got to answer.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, and I worry about it. Like, I think photographers are going to get squeezed in all directions, and I think it's from AI. I mean, I literally just yesterday, some friends of mine are starting a beverage company. So they have this energy drink. Looks great. It's amazing. He was talking about how they're doing some product photography now, and he's like, you will not believe the AI on this stuff.
all you have to do is you scan the can because the AI can't do the text at this point. But then he's like, you will not, like the lighting, the everything, the settings, everything, you can just AI it. And I was like, well, fuck, there you go. There's a product photographer out of a job right there.
And so even more important to protect your intellectual property, because when there is no more product photography, do you own the licensing to 50 years of your archives? Which is a very, think about real estate photography. I'm just going to shift back.
Sure.
Historical record of a
Right.
place. If there's a Palisades fire again, if there is anything, do you have some ownership over those assets?
Right.
Not that I'm saying you need to extort people for the photos, but that archive for historical purposes has a value. If we have nothing, what do we own? You know? So there's a lot of things that AI is, I'm sure, going to, we've already seen it with IKEA. They don't do photos anymore, they just do renders. That sucks. IKEA obviously had in-house photographers because they're such a huge company. But I think there are a lot of forms of photography, documentary, news, real estate, anything basically that involves the real world that is going to be here for a very long time. And I think it's important to protect the inherent value of that. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
I mean, I don't know. It's like we are, man, I just feel like we're getting squeezed from all sides a little bit. And we, like,
and how much can we be squoze
yes,
before there's no longer a business here?
Yeah.
And I think we're getting to the point where we just need to have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's going to be a big topic at PMRE.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's going to be on everyone's mind. And to be really clear, I do think there is still a business for us. And I think, there is, I think, growth to be had. So it's just about figuring out how we as photographers are leading that rather than, because AI is coming, right? So we can either use it to our advantage or get trounced by it, right? And so, and that's with all these different things, right? It's with the rights, it's with everything else. It's like, how can we wield the tools that we have to make sure that we are the ones who are going to benefit and not get squeezed out?
Yeah, absolutely. And I the other side of that is AI is here to stay.
Yeah.
And that's great and terrible and everything that comes with it. People will always crave human connection and human-made things. Yeah. I think that is also a fact. Whether or not, it is affordable on a mass scale to have a human making ceramics for everyone instead of an AI-driven computer, we need to decide that. But, I think there will always be demand for human-made art. I think,
AI art is
garbage.
Hideous. Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said for, humanity in an object, in an art, in a product that AI at this point doesn't quite have a handle on. But when I buy something, I like to know that I'm supporting the guy down the street.
Right.
Is that going to cause a shift to a more, local based, support my neighbor economy? Right. In this day and age, who knows?
Right.
Do people even talk to their neighbor? Another day, another podcast.
Right.
But I think there's always going to be demand for something real. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. We will.
Yeah.
I did want to, this is off topic and it's my podcast. I can go off topic if I want. I was looking in researching, right? I was, seeing some of your plane photography.
Yeah.
And so I do see that stuff's come up just like sometimes the other people posting all the planes taken off or whatever. But I'm actually curious about, you have these overhead shots of like the Bradley terminal and the terminals at LAX.
Yeah.
How did you get those?
Helicopter.
So you were able to have a helicopter over the airport?
Yes. So there is something called the Sepulveda transition.
Okay.
And that is a very specific piece of airspace in Los Angeles where you have 10, 15 airports in the greater LA area that are all actively being used.
Yeah.
And planes and helicopters need to get back and forth. And so if you think of the airport, LAX, as a sort of hourglass from a side perspective. You're looking flat at it.
Sure.
Planes are coming down one side. When they're on the runway, they're all flat, and then they take off on the other side. So it's an hourglass profile from the side. Right. They have designated that Sepulveda transition right over Sepulveda Boulevard through the middle of the airport. So traffic can go from airports like, Torrance or Van Nuys.
For the smaller, more private airports.
And so I had made friends with some of the air traffic controllers over the years from photographing LAX.
That's a good use of your new personality.
Exactly. Yeah. And I said, hey, I got this crazy idea. I know that helicopters can kind of come and go and loiter there for a few minutes at a time. I want to fly over the airport for an hour straight. And this was like 2015, 2016 when I was doing this. And they said, okay, we can probably figure it out. Just call us ahead of time. And so I I got the guy's schedule, this friend of mine. I call him up and I say, this week I want 5 days. Mm-hmm. I'm a photographer. I always push for more and more. I want a 5-day window, weather and time of day, where it would be good for me to be able to do this. And there's a little helicopter outfit at, what airport is it?
Santa Monica? No.
No, it's the one, just Hawthorne, 2 miles from LAX. And they fly tours all over LA. And I had kind of a rapport with the pilots after using them for years to do aerial photography before drones ruined everything. And we had been talking with the tower, LAX tower, and worked this thing out where I would come for an hour at 6 a.m. for sunrise when the traffic was quiet. Or, we'd go at Thursday at 4 p.m., whatever window they had. And we would just stay at our designated height. I think we had 2 levels we could stay at that pretty much guaranteed we weren't in the way. One was 3,000 feet, and I think the other one was like 800 or 600 feet over the terminal. And we would actually basically peel off from that Sepulveda transition corridor that I mentioned, west of Sepulveda Boulevard towards the ocean over the Bradley terminal. And we would just kind of stay between the 2 runways and just, going out over those, terminal piers to the end, which is kind of unheard of, in between taking off aircraft.
Well, that's what was blowing my mind because it was just like, wait, these aren't satellite photos. And like, I've had my drone license. It's not current, but, I know you can't fly and shit around an airport like that. So that's crazy.
Yeah. So it was, really cool.
Well, those photos then are very unique.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm just assuming no one else has been able to do that.
You can get out there, but in order to I needed the very specific top-down shots.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's just like you can't. I mean, I've never seen that. So.
And so I had a 5-point harness, and I would basically pivot 90 degrees and sit with my feet out on the edge of the helicopter.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very fun.
And I would lean over and,
that's anyway. Okay. Heebie-jeebies. All right. Well, the thing about that is that took a lot of action for you to do, which means it is time for our action items.
Okay.
Our action items today are sponsored by Pixel CRM, the only CRM that is made by a real estate photographer for real estate photographers and media professionals. It's an amazing tool, fully fleshed out. You can do so many things with Pixel CRM. I urge you to check it out. It's Pixel CRM. That's PIXL CRM.com. And if you add right after that.com, if you add a little /Upmarket, you're going to be able to get a free month of service to check it out. So check out pixelcrm.com /Upmarket. So I think, Mike, I'm going to let you go last because I know it's going to be great. I'm going to do one, and it's inspired by you, by our conversation. And I'm going to look in myself for this as well. I want us to all of us, and think about it in terms of your business, to look at our personalities and see if there's something that we could change. And because I think that was a very unique thing that you said. And so I'm like, well, maybe all of us have something that we could change. I mean, I probably don't, but I may. So I'm gonna look deep, and Chelsea's really laughing over there, and kind of see if there's some little thing about myself that I could change. And that's a vague action item, but I don't know. I like it.
There's many things I could change about my still very imperfect personality.
Yeah.
And, I'm not striving to be perfect. It'll never happen.
No, of course not.
But as I sort of go through different seasons in life, I'm like, I could be a little better at that.
Right. And your wife is like, okay, and here's a list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully she accepts everything about me.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. All right. Let's have it.
So my business action item is learn about architecture.
Okay.
Even if you are 100,000% only a real estate photographer, learn about architecture. You spend every waking, well, not every, but you know, the majority of your time in houses, in offices, in buildings.
Or right next to them, looking at them.
What is good architecture? When you encounter good architecture, would you know it? Could you name 10 chairs off the top of your head? I don't think the average real estate, even architecture photographer could do that. And I see a lot of people claiming to be real estate photographers, architecture photographers, real estate photographers who would shoot architecture if given the chance, but wouldn't know an Eames chair from a womb chair.
Yeah. I know Lazy Boy. That's what I know.
So learning about the subject that we live and breathe, I think is very important. And that will help you better understand what you're actually doing, what you're photographing, what is good architecture, what is good infrastructure, how can we, make the places that we live better places, how can we use our job to better convey what good architecture is, how can we make something that is crappy architecture look like good architecture to make us better at our jobs, to bring more value. And I'm not saying go and become a masters of architecture. Buy Architecture for Dummies for $20 on Amazon. Read it cover to cover.
Well, I think that's really great. And I just related that to my own personal experiences because way before I was a real estate photographer, I worked in San Francisco in a fine art gallery. And I, kind of hung out with that crowd a little bit more and went to there was this architecture bookstore and I would go and have a passing interest and just kind of learning because a lot of the photographs we sold were of architects and they had, it's these chairs and this, that, and everything. And so I feel like I started learning about that a little bit and really just on the surface. But I do think that served me when I was shooting real estate because I knew about some of those things. And when I could go into those houses, I was a little more, I could be conversational even with the homeowner about those things or about the art that's on their wall or whatever. And that really did serve me because it broadened my knowledge base and I was able to relate to people more. Yeah.
And I think one stupid sentence can erase all credibility.
Oh yeah.
If you go into someone's, contemporary home and you say, I love mid-century modern. And then the homeowner's like, oh my God.
Yes, right.
And capital M modern versus contemporary or just modern. What is the difference?
Right.
And can you talk about all these different things?
Right.
And I'm not saying you need a PhD level. Can you make small talk?
Right.
Can you talk with the contractor? Is there something that you can both discuss about public policy? Start there. Right. The new zoning is insane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Building rapport by knowing more about what you're doing because it is really shameful. And I think this is also bad is photographers get so swept up in they know at what aperture diffraction begins on their tilt shift lens. Nobody cares.
Oh,
nobody.
I don't care. Yeah, I know. I've been a proponent of not caring.
Yeah, I love not caring. It's very liberating.
Yeah.
People are splitting hairs over the differences between the sharpness of a Canon lens on a Fuji versus a Canon, and you need the 100 megapixel second. I'm I'm still shooting with I have a 5 DSR, an R5, and a Fuji GFX 100. I will mix all three together and deliver them on the same shoot, and no one knows.
Right.
And that is sacrilegious to so many people. And you spend so much time worrying about cameras, but you don't know anything about the subject that you live and breathe. And so I think it's so important that people learn these basic things for a number of reasons. If you want to, work on that personality and seem affable and go into these homes and, chat up this person's house that they've spent the last 10 years living in, building, renovating, whatever. And then the realtor can be like, this guy really knows what he's doing. This is really nice. Yeah. Maybe I'll use him on this flagship property that's coming up in Montecito.
There you go.
Whatever that may be. So learn architecture.
All right. Mike Kelley, thank you.
You're welcome.
And look forward to hanging out in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And hanging out before. I think we're going to be like dinner buds now. So this is really great. And
you'll find me at the $5 blackjack table.
Yeah. And then there's no $5 blackjack tables anymore.
Not anymore.
And so Chelsea, thank you. And of course, thank you to our listeners. Thank you to all our sponsors, of course. And we're going to be back. We have a lot more PMRE episodes. And remember, Early Bird goes on sale May 29th, 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in there, get your tickets, and we're going to be back with another episode next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Upmarket is a production of Upmarket Studios. This episode was produced by Chelsea Froelich and edited by Bethany Diedrich. Thank you so much for listening, and we really hope you listen to the next one too. In the meantime, our wish for you is to not have to shoot any Friday night Twilight shoots. Thank you for everything.